This is my filming setup. What's that? Well, it's a little story time for you guys. Hello everybody. There's so many lights going on right now. I have been filming all day. It is Tuesday for me. It's been a little bit of a difficult filming day just because next door there are people who are doing lots of deliveries and truck deliveries. So there's a lot of noise happening over there. It's just making filming difficult. But in between that, I was able to finish filming a video and now I'm moving on to lunch. So my lunch consists of something that I have never tried before, but I am trying now. It is the Trader Joe's curry chicken salad, slightly sweet with a spicy kick is what it says. So this is it. So I'm trying this today and it actually tastes pretty good. Their claims, someone's texting me. Their claims are actually really good. It is sweet with a little bit of spicy kick to it. So that is true. I've just been listening to Spotify. This is what I'm listening to at the moment. It's really a nice song. I like it. I've never heard of Damien Rice before, but I like his style. Anthony is texting me. Ha 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 ha. We're talking about what's happening next door. So I am just making myself a beautiful sandwich with this. I haven't really eaten much today. I had a little bit of a breakfast, but not much food. So this is going to be my lunch. And it's that spicy chicken salad with lettuce and cucumbers, basically. We did a Trader Joe's run a few days ago. Yesterday, what's today? Tuesday, yeah. So Sunday. And I get the honey whole wheat bread from Trader Joe's, so I'm using that. I'm just gonna put these little Persian cucumbers on top, which I very much enjoy. I'm gonna be adding these onto here. Looks quite good. These plantains are gonna be made for something else. I was gonna make a dessert like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something like that. But I never ended up making it because, to be honest, I was intimidated and it was quite tricky. So I'm probably going to be making that at some point this week. Just gonna cut it. How would you cut this? This way or this way? That way. That way would be easy. I'm gonna cut it this way. I'll be artistic. Trying something new. There we go. So, how are all of you doing today? Let me know. I have been doing okay. The noise next door is not ideal, but manageable. It just makes filming take a lot longer. But they seem to have quieted down for now. I don't know if they're on a lunch break or not. It's better for me because once I finish my lunch, I'll be back into filming because I have 2 more videos to film. This lighting is not really working, is it? Not really. By the way, for all of you who are new here, I'm Angela. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, but this is my vlog channel, and I do have a main channel. It's always linked in the description box down below. When it comes to vegetables and such like that, like for instance, if you get a package of cucumbers or whatever, I don't throw the excess away. I have quite a few chopped pieces here that were just bad. They're not really good to eat. Or they're not fresh anyway. They're not fresh to eat. So with anything like this or the ends of lettuce, if I'm not like propagating them to grow, then I will give this to my chickens, which I showed you guys last time. They get that. They get all like the little leftovers that's veggie based. They don't really get, or breads. So if there's ever like an end of bread that isn't as fresh and starting to go bad, then or starting to go stale, I give them that because they really enjoy that. I don't typically give them fruit. I do once in a while, but it's really tricky with fruit because with chickens especially, they will start to not eat their actual food that they're supposed to eat. So be very careful when giving them anything like that. I'm always very careful when giving them extra stuff because I don't want them to ignore their protein-rich food that I give them. So I always give them tiny little bits here and there, veggie or carb-based, like breads, lettuces, cucumbers, and such like that. Chickens are actually very smart. They won't eat what they know is bad for them, which is great, but they will eat or tend to overeat what is good for them if you give it to them. So moderation for everybody, really. Nothing ever really goes to waste here, so that's always great. This is how lunch turned out. All the remnants will go to my chickens so they can be nice and healthy. I am still working on my second cup of coffee for the day while filming, to be honest. Ignore the air conditioner. I do need to fill this up with water though because I have not had any, which is bad. I know. I need to have some water. But this is my filming setup. I've been filming on my computer and then of course my ring light. Just a day full of filming. Can't wait to get into that. Oh, it looks so good. Done some work, transferred some footage, and now I'm about to film my second video just because the first one took forever due to all the noise from the neighbors. So this is my setup. I'm filming on my phone for my iPad video. This one will be up in a few weeks. I took it out of the case, and the reason I'm not filming with this camera is because it does not want to focus when in video mode. I've changed every setting. I've done everything there is possible to do to make this thing focus, and it just won't through like half the video. So if you saw my video called Making Custom Brushes in Procreate, you will notice that most of that video is not in focus for the iPad, and it's completely this camera's fault because I changed all the settings. I made sure everything was in focus, and then as soon as I go to hit record, everything's taken out of focus. So that camera. So iPhone it is, and as you can see, it looks great. So I'm going to be filming in Illustrator on the iPad for this video, which will be coming out shortly. You're probably wondering, what's that? Well, I'll tell you in a little bit after I finish filming this video. It's a pretty surprising story on how that happened, so I'll let you know as soon as I'm done filming this. Okay, I have just finished filming my last video for the day. And it's much later, as you can see. It took way longer than I thought. So it's like 5:30 at this point. I still have my ring light on, but so that's going to be coming out I wanted to talk about something that happened, and it's something that was both scary and unfortunate, but it happened. So let me sit you guys down. Okay, there's a little story time for you guys. For this iPad that I have, I've had it for a few years, and it has received some damage. The reason it received some damage is pretty much the story I'm going to tell you guys. So this was over Easter weekend. I'm just getting my iPad back in its protective case. This is my original backup protective case. This is Pro Case. I got this on Amazon before I got my other case, which is no longer here. Over Easter weekend, Easter was Easter. It was good. There was good food, family and whatnot, but something unfortunate happened, and I like this case, my original one. And that was that we were coming back from Anthony's parents' house because we had spent half the day there and half the day here. And we came back so I could feed my animals, and we were driving in his car. He's been meaning to like work on his car just for like routine maintenance and such like that, but this was not anything to do with routine maintenance, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. But we came back and we had gotten out of the car. We decided to leave our things in the car because we were gonna leave again and then come back. He went inside. I then went to feed my animals, and that took about 10 minutes. I stopped to water my plants that I showed you in a previous vlog, my plant collection. I went to water those at the time, and all of a sudden there was a loud pop. I looked over because I was like, what was that? I looked over at the car and the windshield had popped. And I was like, that's weird. Why would that happen? I squinted over there and looked a little closer, and I'm like, what? That looks strange. So I ran over to the car. Something's wrong. I opened the door and fire, like just fire. And so I screamed Anthony's name because he was inside. I screamed for him, and I ran because I remembered I had just found a fire extinguisher the day before, literally the day before. I had put it in the garage. So I ran to go get the fire extinguisher from the garage. I screamed Anthony's name again and yelled fire, and he ran straight to his car and was like, oh my God. I was on my way back with fire extinguisher. Anthony was smarter than that and went and grabbed the hose because the hose was closer to the car than the fire extinguisher. So he grabbed the hose and outed the fire with the hose. I then came running up with the fire extinguisher and realized he had already extinguished the fire. And I'm like, wow, that was much smarter than grabbing the fire extinguisher at the time. Unfortunately, my original case, my black Zuku case that was around my iPad at the time, was melted, and my iPad sustained a little bit of damage here. It really wasn't much at all. It's just this little corner. And the iPad's still fully functional, fully works. It's under the glass. You can't, like, there's nothing wrong with it. I wasn't concerned about my stuff. I only had my iPad in there, but I also had my purse, I had my jacket, and such like that. And my water bottle. This one. Didn't touch it. So this is what the car looked like after said fire. We were just in shock because 10 minutes ago, we were both in the car. There are things that happen. It's like a moment where you just think, wow, that was lucky, but also unlucky. I ended up feeling guilty that I didn't just grab the hose initially and like extinguish the fire with the hose. Anthony was more concerned about my things getting destroyed than anything else. And I was like, I really don't care. Like, this stuff can be replaced. Like, your car needs to be saved. It was one of those freak accidents where it's just like, the timing was just so weird. And I was just like, wow, And the first thing out of his mouth was, well, actually the first thing out of his mouth was, how's your iPad? I'm like, Anthony, stop, it's fine. It just, I don't give a crap about the iPad, okay? And then the second thing was like, what would have happened if we were in the car? And I looked at him and I was just like, what do you mean? You would have thrown it's a manual car. You would have thrown the car in neutral, pulled off to the side of the road. We would have opened the doors and jumped out the car. Like, what are you talking about? What would happen? And I was just like, if that didn't happen, like if you didn't think that far ahead, I would have opened the doors and kicked you out of the car and jumped out myself, you know? I'm like, I'm not too concerned. Like, I've been in situations where I've had to get out of places quickly, okay? That's not a concern for me right now. Like, my concern was, oh my God, the car's on fire. It was just one of those freak things. Like, honestly, it was, number one, it was scary. Number two, I was just shocked. And number three, racked with guilt because I could have extinguished the fire so much faster than I did. But the car still functioned. Anthony and his brother luckily came over very quickly, like immediately he came over because he was down for Easter, and he came over like almost immediately. And we're like, we don't know what the problem is. Let's remove this fuse and this fuse so that way it can not happen again. Because I'm like, this looks like an electrical fire. And his brother was like, but you put out the fire with water. And I'm like, yes, you can put out fire with water no matter how it starts. Because, you know, the electrical spark is gone. It's not continuing. So it would have been much better to extinguish it with the extinguisher, but water worked just fine. So we were very cautious. We got everything out of the car. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture, but unfortunately my jacket, which I had, and I have had this jacket for years, absolute years. It's always fit me. It's just like a zip up little hoodie jacket. That took all the fire. Like, it saved pretty much the whole car, because had the jacket not been the thing that was on fire, everything else would have been on fire. My jacket kind of saved your car in a sense. So we ended up figuring out that the AC unit is the thing that shorted and literally combusted into electrical fire. And it's not something that's uncommon for this vehicle, which was shocking that we just didn't know that, but apparently that is something that is not uncommon for this type of car. What are the chances that that happened when it did, and we were able to take care of it as quickly as we did, and we weren't in the car when we were just in the car 10 minutes before? That's just insane, you know? It's just a freak thing that happened, and Anthony was more upset, understandably so. But I was just like, you know what? It's okay, because things can be replaced. Basically, it's like the center console and the glove compartment and part of the dash. Like, that stuff can be replaced. It's not something that's like super detrimental to the car, because we looked under the hood, we checked everything out. Everything else was perfectly fine and functioning, and the car still ran. The AC for some reason still worked. Like, I don't know. It was just a freak accident. We were all just standing there and we just didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to say. It was just one of those weird moments where there's nothing to say. There's nothing that could have been done. No one was hurt. Everyone was fine. My initial thought, some of you are probably going to be like, why did you open the car? That's so dumb. Well, my initial thought process was to get the hot air and the heat out, because if the heat continued to build, number one, more things would catch fire, and number two, all of the windows would be like busting open, like the windshield cracked. So from the amount of heat, it would just like, everything would just explode, like slowly, but everything would just explode, the windows and everything like that. Front half of the headliner was like singed off, and the passenger side visor mirror thing was just gone. It was gone. The seats were perfectly fine. Everything else was perfectly fine. The gear shifter, the driver's side of the car, perfectly fine. The seats, perfectly fine. The footwell carpets, perfectly fine. Like, nothing else was damaged. The radio, toast. Unfortunately, the radio was toast. But I'm just like sitting there and I was like, wow. At the time, opening the car door was the best option because it got all the hot air out, and the fire actually decreased in size in that moment. All the heat was escaping. as soon as Anthony reached the car, because he reached the car literally a few seconds after I did, and he had grabbed the hose before he reached the car. He sprayed it with water, grabbed my stuff, and threw it out the car. Everything was fine. Like, my purse is fine, not even touched. Nothing else was touched. This just needed to be cleaned with isopropyl alcohol, and it's perfectly fine. I completely cleansed it twice. I cleansed my iPad twice, and like, kudos to Apple, because my God, this thing stood up to a fire. Like, one of those crazy things that just happened. Still, I was like, you know, you're lucky that my jacket kind of saved your car. And he was just like, I'm so sorry for your jacket. And I'm like, dude, I don't even care. It's like, I don't even care. It's fine. Like, it's such an old jacket. It does not matter to me. It's a jacket, you know? Like, I can get another jacket. Not that I need one, but I'm just like, it's fine. We're all fine. Everything's fine. Except for the car. It's not his only car. So I mean, yes, it's stressful and it sucks that it happened, but it's not his only vehicle, so like, he's not really pressed for getting that fixed immediately. We were able to extinguish the fire quick enough to where it didn't destroy the entire car. Completely grateful that the car still works. The car's still functioning and everything. It's just not completely beautiful anymore. I'm just like, wow, that could have been me. I was the passenger, and I was just in that seat 10 minutes ago. Very grateful that it didn't happen when we were in the car. That's what happened over Easter weekend. Besides that, like, the whole Easter weekend was great, but that's what happened to my iPad. On another note, the plants that I was watering, you guys saw in my last vlog that I transplanted them. They're doing very well. They were kind of like almost dying before because I just didn't realize that they needed mulch and consistent watering. So they're doing much better, and my bamboo is also doing much better. Let me show you guys. Ignore the tripod that I have not taken down yet, but here's the bamboo. I did transplant these two together. So these two are now together in the same pot. They are doing very, very well, and I did have to reposition and redo all the soil and redo the water and everything. They're doing very, very well. The original stock, however, doesn't seem to be thriving too much, even though I redid the soil and the setup for that one as well, and the water. He's just turning yellow. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I need to give him more water. This one, however, is not growing roots. This is the top of that stalk, and it's just not wanting to grow roots. It is sucking up a whole bunch of water, though, so maybe I need to water this one more. I'll probably do that. But bamboo is thriving otherwise as well. It is now 6:15, so I'm gonna start on dinner for Anthony and and I think that'll be our night. So yeah, lots of fun, crazy, and interesting things happening that are just filmed 2 videos in the end just because there was a lot more truck deliveries next door and there was just so much noise, and it was like every 20 to 30 minutes there was just like meh, 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 noise. So I had to stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. We ended up celebrating a friend's birthday yesterday, so we went out to dinner at Nada, and that was amazing. And we had just a great time, so that was fun. I think I'm gonna make some mushroom ravioli because it was something new that I wanted to try. And I'm pretty excited about it. Pretty much everything that I've tried today for food, except for breakfast, was brand new. So I'm gonna try that and see what Anthony thinks about it. And let me turn off this ring light here. Whew, ring light in the room makes such a big difference. All right, let's go make some dinner.